Right, also now I've cut away the canvas, because you cannot have the canvas right to the edge because it'll be so bulky. So you cut it like 2 seams away, because when we're stitching the facing onto the fronts, we stitch around 1/4 inch. It's about what we call a width of the foot. So then I cut the canvas 2 seams away, so basically it's about 1 centimetre roughly, and it's cut right up until the notch, the step where the collar is going to be attached here. So the canvas is cut there, you can see, and then it's cut, usually it's cut to the width of the face in here, but I've cut mine right across 2 seams because this fabric is bulky, so I wanted to not have it bulky there. And I put a bridle on, you can see, and the bridle can be in silicea. I put it in lining, and I put it on the straight grain because your lapel is actually nearly on the bias, so this is liable to stretch, so this will stop it from stretching. And when you put what we call the bridle on, you'd be a bit taut with it as you go down, so it will actually draw it in, so it will kind of draw it actually into the chest area more. And there we have that. So now the canvas is in place. Now I'm going to what we call pad stitching, so this will be rolled over the lapel line and pad stitch, and I'll show you some of that method. And then it'll be edge stitched, sorry, not edge stitched, we'll put the edge, what we call the edge tape, afterwards all the way around there. So I'll get back to you on that, and I'll see you soon. Right, I'm sitting on my work table now, and you can see now I'm going to pad stitch. I've already just anchored down what we call the bridle. This actually goes over the actual roll line, the lapel line, and this is cut on the grain because I want it to stop it from stretching, because don't forget your lapel line, you can see here, is actually on the bias, so you're going to have to be careful. So I cut this, it can be silicea, it can be anything. I've just cut a piece of lining just about 1 inch wide, and I've actually been a bit taut as I've put it on, so it draws it in a little bit. So I've just anchored this down now. Now where this white basting stitch is there, that white base, you can never say that white basting stitch is positioned, that's the roll line. So now I'm going to roll it over, and I'm going to do what we call pad stitching. So you do little diagonal lines, and every toe will have their own methods, but it's the same principle. The wider you leave your pad stitching, the more softer it is, the more closer in, and it will become more firmer. So, you know, there's nothing really set. Everyone's just got their own way, to be quite honest. So, see, as I'm rolling it now, I'm rolling it over, and that will actually it will roll it over permanently, because basically what's happening is, I'll just do one and I'll just explain to you in a minute. So as you're doing these, what we call pad stitching, you roll it over. You can see I'm rolling it over, and you come virtually about halfway where the previous stitch was, and it can be the width, it can be 1 centimetre, it can be wider, it can be closer. I'm doing it a little bit closer because I like a little bit of a firmer lapel, I do, but everyone's got their own methods. So I'm just, you can see, so I'm just, you don't pull it tight, you're just a bit kind of just casual with it. So don't be tight, you don't want to pull anything. So just be a bit soft with it. You can see I'm just rolling it as I'm going along. Can you see? Now that's starting to roll over now. And the reason why that's rolling over, because when you penetrate the other side of the fabric, you actually take up a little bit of this, and so that actually reduces this fabric on this side a fraction, and so hence when that's reduced, that actually rolls it over. You can see. So that's what I'm doing now. So you just keep rolling it over. See, I'm virtually going about halfway of the previous stitches, and I'm rolling it as I go along each stitch. Can you see? And it's actually rolling it over. So I'm just going to keep going up and down. I'll get back to you on the end, at the end of this. Right, so you can see now I pad stitched it, as you can see here. So the way it's pad stitched, see, it wants to come back. You can see that now. I'm sure you can see that now. See, it naturally will roll back. Can you see that? So it naturally roll back. That's what we call pad stitching. We always pad stitch the lapel. And also you can see now, after cutting the canvas back 2 seams, now I've put my edge tape on, which I use a piece of lining cut on the bias. So now you can see this now. So I've put my all the way around to the top where the step is, where the notch step is, and I've done like a herringbone stitch all along the edge there. You can see that. So this is the kind of real bespoke way. A lot of tailors will use like an edge tape, and some will use linen tape, but it can be a bit thick, so that's why I use a bias cut lining. You get this softer edge. So we're going to move on to the next section now, where I'm going to add the facing and the lining now onto the front. So there we have that real bespoke way of making a jacket. Ciao.